logo that we see everywhere, that actually helped in sensitizing the people about the flagship program of Government of India, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. The credit goes to ma'am. So ma'am, with these words, I please invite you on stage for interaction with our volunteers. कोई भी student, किसी भी बच्चे को कुछ भी है, मैम आपके साथ interact करेंगी. Ma'am, the mic. Every student who wants to speak can switch on the mic and speak from their respective places. Ma'am, over to you.
Sure. So it's my heartiest pleasure to be here amongst this very interesting group, I must say. All girls, that too from various states, and probably seeing each other for the first time. And I would like to compliment the team which is behind organizing this, the Director College, Mr. Ejaz, Ravinderji, the principal here, the nodal principal, Mr. Saraswat, and all the faculty members, the NSS coordinator. And I must say that at the time when first time this proposal came to me, that there's going to be NSS camp, girl child from all over, that was the time when I felt that, you know, what an enriching experience and what a life-changing experience it's going to be for many of you. And I was so happy that you are coming to Jammu and Kashmir. And as chance would have it, at that time I was directly looking into this file and the proposal because I was the secretary, administrative secretary for higher education. So just a week back, you know, when I gave up this charge, and now in my capacity as the principal resident commissioner, while I'm interacting to you, you know, I thought that it's really kind of, you know, providence that the kind of connect that I find with this sector actually goes beyond a post, beyond a position. And I would again feel that my excitement that all of you are coming today, you know, gives me so much of happiness that I'm actually able to see all of you here. So I really welcome you, each one of you, and I would, you know, just tell you the format of what I'm going to talk about, and just 5 minutes probably. Why? Because I want you all to ask questions. That would be far more enriching. You know, questions from the context in which today you view women empowerment. Why I want you to ask is because people like me have lived that journey. I have lived that journey as a civil servant, as an IAS officer, a girl who studied in Bihar at a time, you know, when not too many girls had the opportunity to go in for higher education. The reason why I'm sitting here and talking to all of you is because, you know, I got an opportunity, thanks to the broad-mindedness of my parents, to be able to fulfill my dreams, to be able to walk, you know, in a path where knowledge knew no boundaries. Why knew no boundaries? From Bihar, you know, I could come to Lady Shri Ram College, study there, which used to be one of the best colleges at that point of time also. I got an opportunity to do my second master's in University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. I hope some of you have heard of it. So raise your hands, those who have. Okay, only one. So it's a place near Chicago. And the first time when I reached there, in this inclement winter, guess what the temperature could be like? -40 degrees centigrade. Yet the environment there was so intellectually stimulating that the kind of you know, amazing experience which college can provide, so that I got to see over there. And today when I look at the kind of opportunities which in our country we are trying to give to the girl child, to the students, I'm again like, yeah, kind of very hopeful that you know, the sky is the limit for all of you. There are no boundaries, and for you to fulfill your dreams, your aspirations, there are so many channels which have opened up today. When we talk about the new education policy, here we are talking about, again, for you to become faceted, multi-talented, you know, you have the opportunity to be able to work on various disciplines. And we call it like cross-sector knowledge. Why cross-sector knowledge? Because today the kind of world that you're living in, we say that it's interconnected world. The challenges are very complex, problems are complex, needing not just a very linear kind of approach, but needing solutions which look at interconnectedness of things. Now what does it mean? For example, you take up malnutrition. I hope you're aware that even today it is a huge challenge. I hope you're aware that as we talk, around 50% of the girls and women, they suffer from anemia. And it's not because of the lack of resources. It's also because of the lack of full knowledge about, the right time to eat, what to eat, the health-seeking behavior for women. There are many women today, even today I would say, who don't have access to proper menstrual hygiene, resources to menstrual hygiene. So, we are living in a time when we look at things in totality, that what do you need to address? The ignorance part, or like some stereotype part, or livelihood and poverty. So when you map, all these challenges, you are able to then truly emerge as a leader by your own right. Why a leader is? Because leadership today, as you would have seen, rests a lot in terms of women coming to the fore. Women being able to understand challenges, women being able to take decisions for themselves, women being able to decide for the society, for their families, in terms of, say, the critical life choices. What does it mean? There was a time when the critical life choices in a family would be left only to the man, head of the household. Like, whether I want to send the daughter for higher studies, at what age do I want my daughter to get married, at what age, how many children maybe to have. So most of these critical decisions were vested with men. But today, as you would have seen, that women who have had the benefit of getting economically empowered, they are able to take decisions in the best interest of the family. Again, in terms of life choices like what nutrition to give. I'll give you a small example. When I was in Government of Delhi, we started with an experiment called cash transfer scheme in lieu of PDS, food. You've heard of ration? Yeah, that you have a ration card and you go and take ration, and that was an experiment that in lieu of ration, extremely poor household, we'll give cash and then watch and see and study and bring that change in terms of like what impact does that bring on the family. There were many skeptical people who said that the cash is going to be taken away from the women in the hands of men who will use it for drinks. Because in that state of society, they said that people are getting more prone to alcoholism, so don't give cash. Now, in this experiment, the results were very interesting to see. That the cash in the hands of the woman led to her making sure that her child was getting a banana, getting egg, and the nutrition status of that family improved over and above what normally they would have decided to give, because that was going into a woman's bank account. So the kind of journey which I have gone through, I've seen that we earlier, in terms of discourse, the policy discourse from the government side, we used to talk about women as recipient of welfare schemes, women welfare. Then we transited to a journey from welfare to women's empowerment. Now, what does empowerment means? Empowerment is basically optimizing on the inner resources, inner capacity, which a woman already has, a girl child already has. There's immense potential. So I always believe that within that immense potential, all that we need to do is remove the roadblocks, the barriers which impede her intellectual growth, which impede her physical growth, which impede her educational growth, which impede her like maybe access to resources in terms of legal rights, which already the constitution provides, right? But what has been the challenge? The challenge has been that you are not able to fully utilize, what you already have in terms of your, the de facto. There's a gap between the de facto and the de jure position. I hope you understand that. The de jure is that already legal rights are there, but de facto is whether women are able to exercise that. So removing that gap. Now, let me take you back to the story. So from welfare, we travel this journey to empowerment. Now, where does the third journey come? It was women in development. Yeah, that we started recognizing that women are partners in development. And women are equal partners in development. And if we want to balance growth in the society, if we want to balance growth in the economy, and if we want the nation to grow fully, to become more developed, जो हम विकसित भारत की आपने बात सुनी है कि विकसित भारत हमारा ड्रीम है और पूरी तरह से विकसित होना और एक एक कोने में विकसित होना और एक एक व्यक्ति का विकसित होना, ये हमारा ड्रीम है, राइट? तो ये हमारा लेटर एंड स्पिरिट में अगर ये ड्रीम है, ठीक है, और जो कि मतलब सरकार की प्राथमिकता भी है, प्रायोरिटी है, तो इस प्रायोरिटी के लिए women to be equal partners in development is very, very important. And I'm very happy to share that now, what do we talk of? Today we have reached a time when we talk about women-led development. Isn't that interesting? So this journey from policy discourse that we have started to all kinds of programmatic interventions through the government, and of course, with equal participation of women from all walks of life, through academia, research, students, civil society. So everybody has been partner in this journey. So that's the kind of, transition which I feel proud of. And I again feel proud of the fact that I see that promise in each one of you. With this, I will stop here to be able to take, maybe in another 10-15 minutes some Q&A from any one of you. Thank you. Just to introduce yourself, where you come from.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Ria Rehan, and I am representing Jammu and Kashmir contingent. So I have been curious about your journey being a girl child in Bihar, then having the power in like early 2000s, and then now being a woman leader in 2025. How has the behavior of society changed towards you, and how the society has changed around you with other women as well? So you might be having more women colleagues, and so what is all that you have witnessed?
Thank you for asking this beautiful question. Yeah.
Sorry, with your permission, just adding on to what she mentioned too. I'm Dr. Hima Malhotra from Jammu University. I'm the program coordinator.
You are the program coordinator.
Plus, I teach sociology at University of Jammu.
Okay.
So, ma'am, as a woman, from maybe what she's talking about, from your childhood to this level, do you feel any field in your life where still you are unable to make decisions? And you have those barriers coming in as a woman. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, very interesting. And barriers as a woman. Okay. Well, let me start with the first. Yeah, girl child in Bihar, and today a women leader in 2025, and society. How does it has changed in terms of behavior towards me and for others, right? Well, in terms of behavior towards me, I would say that I've seen the shift in terms of getting, more respect, more confidence in me, more trust, more value in me. Now, why has that happened? I'm still like a grown-up girl child, right? I'm a grown-up woman. So why has that, more and more and more come in? It's very interesting to know, and while I reflect on this at the beginning of this year, I feel that I have earned that because of, lot of steadfastness in terms of what I do, in terms of my conviction, in terms of my hard work, in terms of my honesty of purpose, in terms of my intellectual honesty as a whole. And that's what has, and that's what each woman is capable of. Provided we know that, and we know that, that change will come if we are fully committed to ourselves in terms of, also not just thinking about ourselves, not just thinking, and panicking and being concerned about our own growth, which is, bound to come. If we are hardworking, if we are committed and honest, but with a larger goal, a larger purpose in life. What has been that larger purpose and goal in my life? It's been, the ability to change things for the better for many other women. And I've been privileged to actually work in such positions in which I could do that. However, there are many people who have that privilege to work in such positions. For example, like, sectors like social welfare, women and child, that I've been more identified with across my different postings. I've also served in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, I've seen the way people look at these postings. There's some people who look upon it as like a, very temporary, transit, punishment posting, especially sorry, with apologies, especially the men colleagues, because they have not felt that it's like glamorous enough. Why? Because it's very, you need lot of patience in these sectors. Yeah, but I realized that it earned me my name at a time when I was not looking to earn a name. Let me tell you that I'm probably the only officer to have represented the country twice. My colleagues here will not know, at international levels, which is the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration Management, the CAPAM. Yeah, so one was in 2006 and the other was in 2010, and I was leading programs for women. So one was Istri Shakti, and the other was Mission Convergence. Again, it was placing women at the center of development process. So that's why, I was not working for the award, but I was working for the program. I was working to fulfill the objectives of the program. So that's it, as far as so it kept growing exponentially, believe me, the trust that I could gain from people in terms of my ability to change things for the better. And the other thing, in terms of the society, I think a lot of change has happened. Lots of change, because across different strata, I find the kind of confidence which is being expressed today in the ability of the girl child to be able to be a very productive resource in the society, not just being viewed as a burden from the time that she was born. There were so many gender stereotypes that we have watched, haven't we? At least my generation has. In very well-off families also. People used to feel that, well, if it is a boy, then you celebrate, there are a box of sweets which are distributed, but if it was girl child, there was a solemn silence. Now no more. I think people are happy. So that's what the beauty of having, come of age in terms of girl child making a position. But because I think in large numbers we find women doing so well. You look at any sector, any field, there are women doing so well. Number two, now the question which you said was, again interesting, that how, whether unable to make decisions and something which comes as a barrier. Yes, I do, I feel that one thing which comes as a barrier, as I reflect again, because very personal question. You see, as a woman, and as far as I'm concerned, I would still feel that, well, I have to keep myself, when it comes to the family, we still tend to keep promoting others in the family more. And we keep thinking that, well, if I take this step, it should not be at the cost of any other family member. So, so at times, to be able to do many things, it's not that anybody else in the family will tell you, but you yourself, kind of take certain decisions. And so each one of you will face it in your life, that you will be taking a decision, probably thinking that, no, what's best for the family. So maybe what's best for the family may not be the best for you. So maybe you have the capability to do much more, but you are taking that decision because as women, we still feel that. So I don't really feel that it's not essentially a roadblock. Because we are capable of so much of giving. I feel that, and because of our giving, maybe our children thrive more. Maybe our family also thrives more because we are capable of more giving. So maybe we can all take pride in that fact also. Thank you.
Hello ma'am, my name is Takshi Bakshi and I'm from Jammu only, representing Jammu University. I would like to ask the question, though we always see that females are being conditioned to represent the strongness, to be able to have the power to represent everyone, handle everything, even though everybody would step aside and sit. So, there are times where you feel low. You are being in a condition where you might not feel as much strong, but you have to pretend. So what are your points of view? What is the lowest point and how do you handle it?
Okay. So again, very good question. And I think somewhere there you need to be evolving yourself into growing more spiritually. And I think that really helps. Because then it's, your attitude is always positive. So that lowness comes the moment you find anything, you see the negatives of things. I'm known to be an eternally optimist person. And why? Because I've always, looked upon each day as a blessing in life. And I've always looked forward to each flower growing in the garden. I look forward to, the sun rays brightening the sky. I look forward to, when I go to a river, just hearing the sound of the river. I enjoyed my journey of 2.5 years in Jammu and Kashmir, seeing the trees change colors. They were green, they were light green, and then they were dark green, and then they, the chinar tree with their majesty becoming red and yellow, rust. And I enjoyed walking on, maybe the leaves and hearing the sound of that rustle. And let me tell you that it's about time that I say goodbye also to Jammu and Kashmir. 2.5 years I've spent here. And let me tell you that, I've traveled to each and every district of Jammu and Kashmir. When I came here, people told me that, place is not safe. Don't venture out too much. But I wouldn't have known the place. I wouldn't have loved the place. I wouldn't have been able to contribute to the place if I had not ventured out. So that's what the journey is all about. How can you feel low if you love these things around you? So that's my take. Yeah, I mean, be conscious of every day. There is so much of natural beauty around you and beauty inside you. Be conscious of that. Thank you.
Yes, please. Oh, okay.
Hello everyone, myself Aishwarya Das. I'm one of the volunteers from Delhi contingent. The very first question that I have is, ma'am, you went to abroad for your higher studies, and that will be an absolutely difficult task convincing your parents, because I also have the roots of Bihar and Bengal mixed.
Okay.
Yes. So it might be a tough task. The very first question is about that how did you convince your parents to go abroad? And the second question, that you could have settled in abroad only, and now you're conducting a Q&A, very amazing Q&A session as a resident commissioner of JNK and Delhi. What drive you to just shift that path, come back to India? I'm just curious to know.
Okay. So, you see, studying abroad, not easy, very expensive, and when I was studying, and I remember the time when, first time I heard of Oxford and Cambridge, and the first person that I could interact with from Oxford was actually a member of parliament, and my father was also a member of parliament, you know, from Bihar. And this man, this colleague, he, you know, coming back from Oxford, and he contested Lok Sabha, and I was very impressed that Oxford and this, and so then obviously it was not an internet age, and yet, you know, everybody would look upon him, that you know, not that people would not look upon my father, he derived probably more of respect, not gone abroad, but studied in BHU, Banaras Hindu University. But because he was not just a politician, he was also a literature. You know, he was a wonderful author. और मुझे खुशी है बताते हुए कि आज की तारीख में लोग उन्हें याद करते हैं सांसद साहित्यकार के रूप में. And you know, I would be happy to tell my colleagues, 27, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir was there, and he gave this address where he used a term that, look, he was a saint Sahityakar. So, saint king. So it's not important, but Oxford, coming back to Oxford. Now, so it's not important that you go abroad, you know, because I'm giving a comparison of the two. So that was driven home, that you will make the best out of, you know, the opportunities which are available with you, be it in Bihar or the fact that I could come to Delhi for my higher studies. Now, my family obviously would not have been able to afford to send me abroad at that time. Now, how did I manage to go? Because, again, the fact that I had completed an examination, the civil services examination, become the career bureaucrat, the fact that there was a program of the government which could fulfill your dream, your aspiration, if you wanted to go abroad, which I had the opportunity to do twice. One was, you know, going to the Erasmus University, University of Rotterdam, which is in Netherlands. Yeah, so that's another beautiful place. I would encourage all of you to see. They give you very good fellowship. So this was like just 3 months diploma on local economic development on a fellowship. I would strongly encourage you all to see IHS Hague, yeah, IHS Hague and ISS Rotterdam. So ISS Rotterdam was what I went for with full fellowship. And after the 3 months of experience, then I navigated. You see, you have to keep looking for opportunities which are there around you in government, because at that point of time, through the Department of Personnel and Training, we had this opportunity where our entire funding was being done through this government-sponsored program, entire funding. So we didn't have to pay anything. My husband, who's also in the IAS, so both of us, we went there together. We stayed at that cold, minus 40 degree for the winter, that place, but amazing experience. So, not wait for opportunities to come in terms of what the best can be, but because there were interim milestones which I kept taking. So the bigger opportunities, they come by themselves, which did. And what brought me back, of course, because I was already committed to my civil services, committed to public services, committed to the fact that whatever I learn when I go abroad, I have to use that knowledge to do something better here for my country. So no question of settling abroad. Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Saraswati Roka and I am representing Ladakh. So my question is, sometimes we have so many opportunities, but we just left the opportunities because the fear of failure. So my question is, how can we overcome the fear of failure before we do any work? We just fear, afraid by, and we doesn't do that work, and at the last we get regretted back. So how can we overcome this fear, ma'am?
A very good point. You see, we always have that apprehension more than fear. Apprehension whether we'll succeed or not. And I tell you, there are other people who will make you more conscious of failure more. Oh, why do you want to enter this? Why do you want to do things at such a scale? Why do you want to take that risk? There are others who will keep questioning. But I think to overcome all that skepticism, apprehension, fear, your inner conviction has to be very, very strong. So that conviction of what you're doing, is that the right thing to be done? That's most important. Because if it is the right thing to be done, we have no fear. How many have read Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda? Only one or two, only very few hands. Please read Swami Vivekananda for this courage, and especially for the youth. He's talking about courage. And I think 12 January is the day, which is actually dedicated for him, Swami Vivekananda. So if you start reading these, it's like they will tell you much more than what we can, ever discover in life about how to overcome. So, and of course, the other all-time favorite is, the battlefield of Mahabharata. So, I mean, again, fear not. Nahi, yarth mein, daro nahi. So, action, karma. So that's what we all have to stand for. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Saeed Ariba, representing Kashmir. So my question is, what are the steps that are being taken to ensure women welfare, and also not only women but marginalized communities?
Okay. See, especially you're talking about J&K in particular, right? So in J&K, now if you see, one of the very good things is education itself. You see the standard of education, the commitment, starting from primary school, having access created to the remotest of locations, even in terms of the colleges, remotest of locations, now being mapped and opportunity being given to children. So I think for women welfare, when you see the first step is like her right to be get access to good quality education. And because that itself brings a level playing field. So be it like studying in Delhi or here, now with with the internet age, I think the more of the digital divide which is getting bridged today, so that itself is very, very empowering, because women anywhere can have access to the same degree of knowledge, the same quality of instruction, if she's open to availing that kind of knowledge and learning. And marginalized community, again, like you see, beyond just degree, doing your graduation or post-graduation or diploma, it's very important also to know that, okay, there are opportunities locally available to be able to become an economically productive citizen. So for that, another program which I really value is that of self-help groups, livelihood programs, the skilling programs. And well, our colleges are also giving that opportunity through the National Education Policy, the NEP. So while that has begun in terms of skilling, internship, director college, he's been working over, he's just come up with that internship long list, and we started mapping that, where all you can gain internship experience. So that it's practical, not just theory, not just rote learning, but you can apply your learning in terms of being able to, become a better, productive part of the community, through whatever enterprise you decide. For example, in Kashmir, now there are women who are into agri-business, value chain, creating value chain, starting from probably just a few cows, and then it grows and grows, becomes a big dairy. From the dairy, starting to use that milk for creating all kinds of product, And by the way, those from Kashmir or those who are going there, the best quality milk product that you can think of. I've seen that, and so women are realizing that USP. So they are making use of these local resources. For example, lavender oil. For example, from saffron, now there are women who are creating all kinds of cosmetic products. So for me, government schemes which promote these, through access to credit, access to banking loans, access to skilling, access to market opportunity, through to promote startups. So these are very, very empowering, and it is happening in J&K, and I'm sure you will be aware of other states which are similarly doing. But it's just that opportunities need to be availed, to be leveraged, which I'm sure all of you will. And now I think it would be time for me to say goodbye to all of you. And stay connected, stay tuned. Yeah, I would be available on probably my social media, so you can link, wherever, and also on the website through my mail ID also I can give. So it won't be difficult to find. Yeah.
Ma'am, sorry for the interruption. I want to ask that why did you choose IS path and how could you stick with that only? And that was not a hardest part for you in the different criteria and the mindset. And how could you stick with only that thing?
Very interesting. See, it's not just like sticking to IS, so it's more, I think it's been challenging for me as a civil servant to be able to balance my family life with my husband who's in Lucknow. Incidentally, he's coming here today because tomorrow it is a promised visit to Vaishno Devi. So yeah, and it's the first time, 2.5 years, and he's not come here for me. And I've been there like more than 5 times, but so it's always that's a challenge, that you have to sacrifice something. Yeah. So my son, I have just one son. He stays at a different place. The father is at a different place. I'm at a different place, and yet never a day of despondency. Never a day that we have, so because we take our work very seriously. So you have to really enjoy what you're doing. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then you start missing on things, and you feel that there are many people who just give up, on the way. Because they see the difficulty part. But why do if I had to see the difficulty part, that you are the family is like staying separate, it would have been much long ago that I would have just given up my job. But you have to just love what you're doing. Let me tell you, when I was a student, I loved a phrase, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So similarly here, so it's not just doing what you love, also loving what you do is very important. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I couldn't hold back my question because I believe decision making is one of the most important parts of any community. So we being women are very sensitive, empathetic compared to males, of course. But then somewhere I believe sometimes are women in leadership being manipulated or being played with the emotion part. So that brain and heart war. Because NSS is one of the most, the main component is emotion, understanding the other person. So I believe we as volunteers and then need to have that thing that where we both have that rational decision making, and but also at the same time we are being empathetic. So what is your take on that, and how do you tackle that war?
I think empathy is most important, very, very important. Because you have to be kind-hearted. And I feel that half the problem in the world today is because, the attitude of people not caring for others, and creating problems for others, creating roadblocks for others. So the moment, आपको अगर दुख होता है किसी और का दुख हो देख करके, So that is a natural human trait which everybody must have. So I think वो brain and ये मतलब कई बार brain आपको scheming बना देता है ना? So I feel that yeah, don't use your brain so much that you become scheming. Use your brain less, but your heart more. And your heart has to be in the right place. And well, with that, like, even average intelligence, if your heart is in the right place, you'll do the right thing. So, and we should always pray for us to be guided to do the right thing. Because it's not easy, and obviously one can take wrong decisions. But somewhere that guiding light also comes from, like, develop that inner strength that, every day when you get up, that let me have the conviction to do what is right. That's very important. Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Umu Sabha. I am from University of Kashmir. So my question is, we have many acts regarding women empowerment, like the Women Prohibition Act, Post Act, but still there are loopholes in these acts. Ma'am, what's your opinion on these loopholes? In 2024, still we have many loopholes in these acts, and why is that?
So, I didn't get the question fully. Loopholes in?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry?
Ma'am, these acts have been enacted?
Legislations?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're talking about legislation?
Yes, ma'am.
That even today there are some gaps, right?
Since
Okay, so
2005.
see, legislations again. See, you must understand that what the legislations are basically representing, the societal current scenario, right? For example, the legislation which came for preventing, say, dowry. Okay, at that point of time, there were so many dowry deaths happening. For example, PCPNDT Act, it's a legislation. Now why? Because girl, child was getting aborted in the fetus itself, isn't it? So the PCPNDT Act came. Now, even in terms of your access to resources, it was realized that when girls are not able to get equal share, of the property, and so the maintenance, or for the old women, the Maintenance Act for Senior Citizens, they came. So, acts obviously have to respond to the need of the hour. Now, it's an evolving thing. So, we need to understand that when things evolve, they also represent the felt need of the society. So women, in my view, have to be actively engaged in the process, because nothing is cast in stone. So as active as the women's voice in the constituency is, the more you are able to have enabling legislation in your favor. And you would have seen that over the period, there are many even concessions which have come for women. For example, if you register property deed, the Stamp Act says that there will be lesser rate of interest for women, right, in many of the states. And similarly, like many women enabling legislation, and now you also have what? The political empowerment window, open to break all kinds of glass ceiling, because earlier it used to be only local bodies. And from local bodies now, you have even the parliament doors open for you. In a more, not that it was not open for you earlier, but now, like, you can have it more in terms of numbers the moment that enabling legislation is given effect to, right? So, I would encourage you to, again, be able to, just as you do research, on any subject, why don't you all take up in your colleges, research even on seeing what these loopholes are, what are the gaps, how they are affecting women, then come up with recommendation. And let not any research paper just lie in the library.
Yes.
Yeah, do follow up. Yeah, write in the media. Let there be a media story on that issue. Let there be public engagement created through your, social media space. So that way there can be a better, evolving response to this issue that you're talking about.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. अच्छा अभी अंत करना है, आप लोग मुझे separately भी तो engage करोगे. Last question.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
अच्छा, आप कहाँ से? North East?
Yes.
You're from North East, where?
Ma'am, I'm Lakipura
from Dibrugarh University, Assam.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Yeah, welcome.
I consider it a wonderful opportunity to meet a personality like you. So, ma'am, I have a question for you. Have you written down your life journey so far in book form? Because I believe it can inspire thousands of young girls to take up leadership roles. Thank you.
Oh my God! Can I have your name again?
Lucky Burrow.
Lucky.
Yes,
So Lucky, you have said something which probably strikes a very, very sensitive chord of one barrier that I've faced in my life, which is time. Yeah. So that time has never permitted me to be able to work on my book and to be able to complete my book and to be able to share my book. Whereas it's not that I have not penned down my thoughts. I have penned down my thoughts. I have penned down my very interesting anecdotal experiences, which if I start describing now, it will take 3-4 hours of the journey of what women empowerment meant for, probably somebody that I spoke to in Northeast, what it meant for somebody that I spoke to in Rajasthan, but unfortunately not yet out in public domain. But let me share something very secret, resolution which I made to myself, that I'm going to bring it out in the public domain in this year 2025. So watch it. So my book will also probably give a mention of Lucky Bora, that she inspired me, right?
From Madhya Pradesh.
So last. Okay.
मैं हिमाचल प्रदेश से हूँ। मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है जो मैं सफर कर रही हूँ। फिर आप देखती हूँ जैसे कि आपने बात की वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट और इमेंसिपेशन की। एम्पावरमेंट यानी कि अपनी कैपेसिटी को पहचानो और इमेंसिपेशन यानी कि रिमूव करो वो बैरियर जैसे जो आपकी फिजिकल और मेंटल या स्पिरिचुअल इसको रोकते हैं। तो मैम अगर एजुकेशन ही सब कुछ है तो आप देखिए यहाँ पे कितनी सारी वुमेन्स हैं और हर एजुकेशन सेक्टर में वुमेन का बहुत ज़्यादा कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है। पर जब एक्चुअल सर्विस की बात आती है तो ओनली 40% या आर्मी में या पुलिस में आप देखिए तो सिर्फ 10% का कंट्रीब्यूशन रहता है। एक एकेडमिक लेवल में वुमेन का बहुत ज़्यादा ये है रोल है क्योंकि वो बहुत हाइट पर है। पर जब सर्विस सेक्टर की बात आती है तो चाहे वो BEd हो चाहे कितनी बड़ी आगे तक अपनी पढ़ाई की हो फिर भी वो घर पे है। मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ मैम कि जैसे कि इस स्टेज में जैसे कि 25 के बाद जब मैरिज हो जाती है तो वुमेन क्या करती है कि सेक्रीफाइस कर देती है लव के लिए या अपने प्रेमी के लिए कि यार तुम तुम्हारे लिए मैं छोड़ देती हूँ। तुम चाहते हो कि मैं नहीं जाऊँ मैं रहने देती हूँ। मतलब कि अपनी एबिलिटी को वो खत्म कर देती है। एक तौर पे ये करती हूँ मैं या मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता है कि क्या ये सही है अगर वो इतना पढ़ा है उसने मतलब उसने PhD कर ली और उसके बाद वो एक माँ बन जाती है। ऑफ कोर्स हम कहते हैं कि अगर आप एक नारी को पढ़ाओगे तो जनरेशन को पढ़ाएगी वो अपने बच्चे को पढ़ा लेगी। पर अगर जो उसके अंदर का टैलेंट है मान लीजिए मेरे पास मैंने कुछ ऐसे एग्जाम्पल देखे हैं जो कुछ ऐसी लड़कियां हैं जिनका बहुत टैलेंट था पर जब उनकी शादी हो गई तो वो टैलेंट सिर्फ वहीं तक रह गया। वो बाहर नहीं आ पाया क्योंकि उन्हें लगा कि अब मेरे पति को लगेगा या मेरे जो घर वाले हैं वो उनको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा।
So देखो आपका सवाल से ज़्यादा मुझे लगा कि ये एक ऑब्जर्वेशन था, ठीक है। लेकिन इस ऑब्जर्वेशन में मैं ज़रूर अपने अनुभव को ज़रूर साझा करना चाहूँगी, एक्सपीरियंस को, जो कि मैं तुमसे फिर जो है इन टर्म्स ऑफ माई वॉट एवर एडवाइस दैट आई कैन गिव टू यंगर कॉलीग्स ऑफ माइन, है ना। आप लोग सब मुझसे बहुत छोटे हो, है ना, यंग हो। तो इसमें देखो ये ना बड़ी नेचुरल चीज़ तुमने बताई और ये होता रहा है और ये बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है और मैंने इसका एक नाम भी एक लिया, विमेन वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस, है ना। और एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है कि प्रोफेशनल लाइफ एंड पर्सनल लाइफ को बैलेंस कैसे करना है ना, बहुत बड़ी चुनौती। अब लेकिन मुझे देखो अपने एक्सपीरियंस से ये भी लगा है कि एक्चुअली अ वुमन इज केपेबल ऑफ डूइंग दैट, ठीक है। लेकिन उसके अंदर ना अपने अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेंथ चाहिए होता है। कहीं ना कहीं सबको एक सुपर वुमन बनना पड़ता है। अब वो सुपर वुमन बनने के लिए आप ना मतलब जगल करते हो, मतलब कई मल्टीटास्किंग आप करते हो, आप जगलिंग करते हो, टाइम मैनेजमेंट करते हो, मल्टीटास्किंग करते हो। लेकिन मुझे लगता है मैंने अपने साथ यही अमल किया है बाय द वे, दोनों को, प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में पर्सनल लाइफ दोनों को मैं खूब जगलिंग की है। लेकिन मतलब वो जगलिंग जो है ना बड़ी अच्छे से देखो कि वो जगलिंग हो गई है ना, बच्चे ने भी अच्छी पढ़ाई की, जबकि मैंने समय कभी नहीं दिया बच्चे को, है ना। लेकिन वो आज की तारीख में वो अपने आप ही इंडिपेंडेंट थिंकर एंड बड़ी अच्छी, उसने वो बेस्ट सेलर ऑफ अ बुक वो बन गया। तो वो कहाँ से आया? एनवायरमेंट पॉजिटिव रखते हैं तो उसी में आपके मदर इन लॉ है, आपके फादर इन लॉ है, आपके हस्बैंड है, ये सब बदल सकते हैं, सबका माइंडसेट बदल सकता है। अगर उसे लगता है कि भाई आपका फर्म हो, फर्मनेस अपने अंदर रखनी होती है। मुझे लगता है कई बार महिलाएं खुद ना वो फर्म नहीं हो पाती हैं, तो ठीक है उतना कमिटमेंट नहीं रखती है, उतना मेहनत पे विश्वास नहीं रख पा रही है, वहाँ गड़बड़ी शुरू हो जाती है। कन्विक्शन स्ट्रॉन्ग है ना, कमिटमेंट स्ट्रॉन्ग है, तो फिर मैंने यही कहा था कि भाई देन यू नो स्काई इज द लिमिट, मतलब देन द यूनिवर्स कॉन्स्पायर्स टू हेल्प दोज हु हेल्प देमसेल्व्स। तो फर्स्ट यू हैव टू हेल्प योरसेल्फ। भी तुम्हें बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग जो मतलब खुद अंदर से अपनी शक्ति को पहचानने के लिए, जो हम बहुत सारे देखो कि स्लोगन्स भी हैं, गाने भी हैं, ये है, लेकिन उस पर नहीं जाओ। आई एक्चुअली फील कि दैट वी नीड टू नो, ओके, वी हैव दैट इनर इनेट एबिलिटी टू बी एबल टू मल्टीटास्क, टू बी एबल टू परफॉर्म। तो ये कन्विंस कर, देखो कोई भी नहीं चाहेगा कि आपका घर निग्लेक्टेड हो, कौन चाहेगा? ठीक है। तो कई बार मैं जब अमेरिका में भी थी, वहाँ भी मैंने देखा कि वहाँ भी ऐसे जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप वर्क कर रहा था कि इट वाज द वुमन हु वाज still making sure कि नहीं मॉर्निंग शी इज प्रिपेयरिंग द सैंडविचेस, यू नो, मेकिंग श्योर कि बच्चों का वो म्यूजिक क्लास है, यहाँ लेकर के जाना है, ये करना है। लेकिन धीरे धीरे देखो जेंडर रोल्स बदल भी रहा है। मैंने एक चीज यह भी नोटिस किया है कि धीरे धीरे जेंडर रोल्स में मतलब मेन भी वो जेंडर रोल को शेयर करने लगे हैं, वो भी आपका हाथ बटाने लगे हैं कि नहीं अगर खाना एक साथ हम बनाएंगे, ठीक है, एक साथ बच्चों की पढ़ाई, कभी आपने होमवर्क करा दिया, कभी जो है वो उसके फादर है वो होमवर्क करा रहे। पहले पूरे जेंडर रोल्स में लगता था कि सिर्फ महिलाएं ही करेंगी, तो वो बदलाव तो आ रहा है, लेकिन उस बदलाव के लिए हमें बहुत इंतजार नहीं करना है कि जब पूरा बदलेगा तब हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। आगे तो हमें बढ़ना ही है, तुम सबको बढ़ना है, ये मान के चलो। थैंक यू।
एक्सक्यूज जस्ट हम आपने जो भी बोला, आई एम फ्रॉम राजस्थान, ये सब आई एम गोइंग टू एग्री विद दैट, बट मैम देयर इज वन सिचुएशन व्हिच इज क्रिएट इन द वर्क प्लेसेस कि जो मैन है वो ज़्यादा बेटर डिसीजन लेता है एज कम्पेयर टू वुमेन। अगर वो सब भी वही काम कर रहा है और एक वुमेन भी वही काम कर रही है, तो व्हाई द मैन इज बेस्ट इन टेकिंग डिसीजंस?
No, but why do you think that he is the best in taking decisions?
Because someone speak to
Mother, you are saying it's a perception.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, you have to be very good in your communication because you were not able to communicate the fact that the word perception is there. See, the way you said it, it was that man is better in taking decision. No. You have to be very firm again in saying, why is there like a perception built up like this, isn't it? So perception, देखो, myth आपने सुना होगा, stereotyping आपने नाम सुना होगा, ठीक है? एक तो मैं encourage करूँगी, खूब देखो, पढ़ने का कोई substitute नहीं है. You must read good books. You must read articles. You must understand the right logic, ठीक है? जैसे एक और एग्जाम्पल दूंगी कि लोग कहते नहीं अबॉर्शन जो है वो लीगल नहीं है वाला, है ना, बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि पीसीपीएनडी की एक्ट में अबॉर्शन, देन आई हैव टू से कि भाई इट्स नॉट, यू नो, वुमन हैज अ राइट टू डू दैट प्रोवाइडेड वो कुछ वीक सेफ्टी ऑफ द, यू नो, बच्चा जो आपका फीचर्स है उसका सेफ्टी के लिए कुछ वीक स्ट्रेस टाइप है. नाउ व्हाट इज इलीगल इज सेक्स सिलेक्शन करके, है ना, आपने फीटिसाइड को रिमूव किया, वो इलीगल है. तो इसी तरह से व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, परसेप्शन जो है ना, वो परसेप्शन या मिसकॉन्सेप्शन है ना, मिसकॉन्सेप्शन वर्ड जो है, तो आप लोग को ये कहना चाहिए, आप लोग को बोलना, चैलेंज करना चाहिए. देखो जितना क्रिटिकल मास होगा ना, मतलब देखो मैं ये भी बिलीव करती हूँ कि अगर आप रास्ते पे चल रहे हो और अपने आप को अनसेफ महसूस कर रहे हो। पहले एक ज़माना था जबकि बहुत कम महिलाएं सड़क पे दिखती थी। अब आप ट्रेन में जाओगे, मेट्रो में जाओगे, बस में जाओगे, आपको बहुत महिलाएं दिखेंगी। मेट्रोज में तो स्पेशली, बिकॉज मोर गर्ल्स आर कमिंग आउट, यू नो, मोर विमेन आर कमिंग आउट। जितना क्रिटिकल मास होगा उतनी चीज़ें बदलेंगी। तो वही क्रिटिकल मास हमें ऑफिस स्पेस में भी क्रिएट करना है। अब तो आर्मी में भी आप जा रहे हो, पायलट भी आप बन रहे हो। कल ही मेरे साथ थी जो कि वो इंटरनेशनल एयरवेज उसमें फ्लाइट में ये करती है। पहले आप सोच सकते थे कि फाइटर पायलट भी महिला हो सकती है, तो कितना वो तो जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप तो ब्रेक कर रहा है। बट यू नो देयर इज नो सब्स्टिट्यूट टू द फैक्ट कि यू योरसेल्फ आर गोइंग टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट चेंज। तुम्हें क्वेश्चन करना होगा, तो बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द चेंज, डोंट वेट फॉर द चेंज टू हैपन। थैंक यू। अच्छा, अब ये बताइए, क्योंकि मैं तो अब मैंने कह दिया कि मैं अपने काइंड हार्टेडनेस में ना नहीं कह पाऊंगी, आप लोग बताएंगे लास्ट स्पीकर कौन है। लास्ट स्पीकर, सो ओके, सो हू इज द लकी वन? बट वहां से भी एक रेड भी है, वहां भी आया क्या? Sorry?
Ma'am, I don't have any question. I'm a program officer from Kashmir only. I just have an observation, and having gratitude and not expressing it in my language, I call it khayanat. So I just have to say कि जिनसे मिलकर इश्क हो जाए वो लोग आपने शायद न देखे हो मगर ऐसे भी हैं. I'm literally thrilled and I'm blessed to listen to you. Ever have. This is the best session I have ever had in my life. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God. You know, I'm so touched. I'm so touched. Really. मैं आज ही देखो आ रही हूँ, कल मुझे श्रीनगर जाना था, मेरी फ्लाइट टेक ऑफ नहीं की, फिर मैं दिल्ली गई, तो मतलब एयरपोर्ट से, और आज 3-4 घंटे एयरपोर्ट के बाद मैं यहाँ आई हूँ. एंड यू नो आई एम सो टच्ड बाय योर रिएक्शन. रियली थैंक यू सो मच. सो लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, ये तो एकदम प्यारी सी बच्ची है, तो तुम पहले अपने बारे में बता दो थोड़ा मुझे.
Myself Anjali, I am from Uttarakhand. My question is that how we can connect the remotest areas like Mada region of Uttarakhand to outer world. For like they have to migrate to different places for standard education or a better opportunities. So how we can
देखो, एक तो जो मैंने पहले कहा इंटरकनेक्टेडनेस में, एक तुमने सुना होगा द वर्ल्ड इज बिकमिंग फ्लैट वाला दैट कॉन्सेप्ट, ठीक है. और अब जो है मोबिलिटी जो है उतना मुश्किल नहीं है. पहले मोबिलिटी का प्रॉब्लम था, गांव से लोग बाहर नहीं निकल रहे थे. अब गांव से शहर भी आ रहे हैं, शहर से बड़े शहर भी जा रहे हैं, बड़े शहर से विदेश भी जा रहे हैं. यू नो पीपल आर लाइक, so everything is like getting more at reach. You know the access is much better for any remote location. However, if you don't have the means, ठीक है, if you don't have the means, for not everybody mobility is as simple as easy. However, in terms of the outreach of the government, of the public facilities of the government, ठीक है, of the services that we call public good, ठीक है, आपने नाम सुना होगा पब्लिक गुड सर्विसेज. नाउ स्कूल, डिस्पेंसरी, PHC, है ना, these are public good services. Road, electricity, water. So all these things now today are reaching places, ठीक है. आपने नाम सुना होगा लाइक यू नो उज्ज्वला योजना, तो गैस है. पहले जहाँ पे ईंधन के लिए उत्तराखंड जैसी जगह पे बहुत सारी महिलाओं को अपना जाना पड़ता था, बहुत दूर अपना जंगल में जा रहे हैं ईंधन के लिए, लकड़ी ला रहे हैं. या फिर पानी, आपने जल जीवन मिशन का नाम सुना होगा, ठीक है, पानी के लिए बहुत दूर जा रहे हैं, पानी ला रहे हैं, तो उसको हम कहते हैं विमेंस ड्रजरी, है ना. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट देयर इज अ टर्म कॉल्ड ड्रजरी वर्क. तो दैट ड्रजरी ऑफ वुमेन, that disproportionate burden which the women faced in the family of fetching, you know, fuel, firewood for the fuel, fetching water for the family, and because of that it used to be like a vicious circle. Vicious circle क्या था? that the mother will make, take her daughter with her. Yeah, she will not. और तुमने उत्तराखंड की हो, तुमने बहुत देखा होगा, है ना, कि वो बेटी साथ में छोटी बच्ची जाती थी, ठीक है, या उस बच्ची को छोड़ दिया जाता था केयर वर्क के लिए, है ना, केयर वर्क के लिए कि छोटा अगर बेबी है उसको तुम देखो, तुम स्कूल जाकर के क्या करोगे, तो तुम तो मेरे साथ जंगल में ये बिनने जाओ या तुम छोटे बच्चे को देखो, ठीक है। अब क्या हो रहा है कि उस तरह से मतलब धीरे धीरे वो कॉन्सेप्ट आ रहा है कि केयर वर्क के बर्डन को भी कम करना है। तो अब आंगनवाड़ी में भी आंगनवाड़ी कम क्रैश की फैसिलिटी है ना, कि आप बच्चे को आंगनवाड़ी भेजिए, आंगनवाड़ी का रीच बढ़ाया जा रहा है। तो मैं गवर्नमेंट के पब्लिक सर्विसेज की बात तुमसे कर रही हूँ कि बी अवेयर नाउ कि पब्लिक सर्विसेज अगर पहुंच रही है वहां पे, ठीक है। अब क्या है कि उसको अवेल करने के लिए ना, वी नीड टू ऑल्सो रिड्यूस द गैप बिटवीन द डिमांड एंड द सप्लाई, राइट। द सप्लाई इज देयर, but at times I feel that people are not making full use of the supply. So you also have to make sure that the moment the supply gap between the demand and the supply is reduced, everybody is able to utilize the public provisioning of the services. The more the utilization is, the better you avail of the opportunities. फिर जो ये mobility का issue है ना, बहुत सारे मैंने बच्चों को देखा है जो कि गांव में पढ़े हुए बच्चे, ठीक है, वो फिर अपना अच्छा पढ़ करके स्ट्रीट लाइट के नीचे पढ़ करके भी, मतलब ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो कि फिर एक बार अच्छे एजुकेशन, अच्छा स्कोर हुआ, वो आगे बढ़ते गए। तो आई होप दैट एड्रेसेस द क्वेश्चन ऑफ मोबिलिटी। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। इससे बढ़िया इनॉग्रल सेशन इस प्रोग्राम का नहीं हो सकता था। एंड समीना मैम हैज ऑलरेडी पुट अ इनफॉर्मल वोट ऑफ थैंक्स। थैंक यू सो मच मैम। मैम प्लीज जी, I request now State NSS Officer Dr. Sheikh Ejaz Bashir to please address the gathering.
I don't have to address, I have to just say only one thing. But my takeaway from today is universe conspires to help you. This is a golden sentence, you remember it. And regarding the leadership of madam, I would like to say a few things. Regarding decision making, her decisions are very quick and very fast, and she just understands things first and then takes a decision, immediate decision. I had the opportunity of working with her for less than 3 months, and what I have seen, I am narrating those things here. And she believes in collective leadership. When she wants to take a decision, she takes everybody on board and speaks to all, and then takes a decision on her own. And regarding management of time, when we used to go to her, she used to talk business, and once business was over, then she would stop the meeting immediately. Then regarding involvement, her involvement, when she was given the additional charge of higher education, I thought that she would take it that way only, but she immediately took every issue one by one and devoted time. She was short of time, but gave quality time to us. And when when it was said that she has to leave now, and she was saying that I have to leave, but every day she talked about the department, she took the decisions, and she's today also talking about the issues which are confronting the department. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ma'am, we have a token of appreciation for you. Ma'am, please.
Just a second, please. Please, a token of gratitude for Hema ma'am.
Yeah, Hema ma'am.
Ma'am, will have it.
Please slide the chairs. Ma'am. Resource person for the inaugural session, Dr. Hema Gandotra, NSS Program Coordinator, University of Jammu. Thank you, ma'am. I request Director Colleges, Jammu Division Colleges to please present a token of gratitude. Sorry, JNK, Jammu and Kashmir Higher Education. To please present a token of gratitude to Rashmi ma'am.
Madam has given us 30 minutes, and she has already spent 60 minutes with us. Thank you, madam.
Because I believe in the moment. Seriously, the gadi doesn't.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A shawl. Hema ma'am, you please do the honor. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I request all the NSS program officers, that the contingent leaders, to please move forward for a group photograph. I contingent leaders, please. Ma'am, contingent leaders only.
It's a pre-elect session, madam. Now see, that when they are talking to leader, they are not able to.
I don't believe this. Really?
Yes.
Oh God. But this is apologies from me. अगर मुझे ऐसा पता रहता, I would have been more ruthless.
I request volunteers to please seated. I request volunteers to please be. The flights of Meghalaya got cancelled. They are supposed to reach tomorrow.